Forecast first on KOLR 10 News.
Oh, yesterday I was talking about how we were going to have a little bit of a hiccup on our way to warmer weather today, and certainly we had that cloudy skies, windy conditions, and colder temperatures. Right now, cloudy across the area. It's dry. Winds are starting to pull back after some very gusty winds that approached 40 miles per hour earlier today. Temperatures are also continuing to pull back. 39 right now in Rolla and Fort Leonard Wood, 42 in Springfield, and down to our south in Harrison, currently 45. Our evening will be quiet. We'll hold on to mostly cloudy skies with some clearing after midnight. Temperatures slowly dropping to the 30s into the mid-30s by midnight tonight. Big warm-up. Well, it starts tomorrow and gets even warmer later this week. We'll have details on how warm and the records we may challenge. That's all coming up. KOLR 10 News at 6 starts now.
You're watching KOLR 10 News at 6 in high definition.
A Republic police officer and a suspect are in the hospital tonight after an officer-involved shooting in a neighborhood today. Good evening once again, everybody. I'm David Oliver.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lindsay Klein. Jennifer has the evening off. Shots rang out around noon today near the intersection of Peachtree and Elm Streets in the middle of town.
Our Nick Thompson is live on the scene once again to talk more about why the officer pulled his weapon there in the first place. Nick?
Well, David and Lindsay, the Republic Police Department officers don't want to assume too much at this point, but they believe that the suspect first drove through the corner of this garage that you can see, this white garage right here, and then made their way across the yard over to here. And that's where you can see the vehicle, and you can also see the officer's vehicle. And it's also where Greene County investigators are currently looking for evidence at this hour. Now, officers believe that when they approached the vehicle, that's when the officer sustained his injuries. In a normally quiet Republic neighborhood, a chaotic scene unfolded today in front of Amanda Hillis. She was home with her children around noon and witnessed some out-of-place commotion.
We looked out here and saw that the car had drove straight through their garage, out the other side, and into the next garage. And we stepped outside and heard shots fired.
The Republic Police Department got a report of a vehicle into a building, and we responded officers over to this area here at Peachtree and Elm, where we found a vehicle inside the building, as you can see across the street.
Republic Police Chief Mike Lawton says as the vehicle tried to leave the scene, the driver struck the officer. The officer then pulled his gun and began firing. Hillis saw officers handcuff the suspect to a stretcher, and she saw what appeared to be the injured officer.
I knew it wasn't one of these guys because he wasn't handcuffed or anything, but he was collapsing in the yard, trying to make it to the street where the ambulance was coming to pick him up.
The Greene County Sheriff's Department will be in charge of investigating this shooting. Hillis is interested to see the answers they come up with.
It's not normal for this neighborhood at all, or this town. It's a quiet town. That's why we like it here, so it's very different.
Now, Hillis says that she saw one additional person, at least one other person here at the scene other than the suspect and the officer. Now, officials cannot give us a condition at this time on the officer or on the suspect. Reporting live in Republic, Nick Thompson, KOLR 10 News, Ozarks First.
All right, Nick, thanks. And political coverage on KOLR 10 News tonight. A new law set to control the indecent exposure guidelines in Springfield is headed back to City Council after passing through a committee today. The ordinance is similar to a law which was in place before the controversial changes came about to council last year. Members of council passed an ordinance creating stricter details, but have since repealed that because of a pending lawsuit. Proponents of the repeal call it a welcome change, while one council member says backing down to the lawsuit sends the wrong message.
It's drawn attention to it, and everybody knows. You know, everybody knows that the cat's out of the bag, and now Springfield is retracting what they had done because they're embarrassed by their actions.
I'm very conservative when it comes to spending money on things, but something important as the safety and protection of our citizens, and something that they feel very strongly about having stricter nudity laws, I think that's something that you want their local government to fight.
The new ordinance is set to go before council at its next meeting on Monday, February 22nd.
New at 6 tonight, the National Weather Service continues its series of storm spotting classes across southwest Missouri. Our Brennan Gurley learned why a trained spotter is vital in keeping the public safe during the spring storm season. Brennan.
Lindsay, the NWS and storm spotters have the same goal in mind during severe weather, making sure they have the high confidence information and getting the information out to the public to keep them out of harm's way. The director of the Springfield Greene County Office of Emergency Management tells us trained storm spotters provide detailed reports on weather events at the ground level. That helps with response coordination and important warnings that ultimately protect citizens and property.
Doppler radar is a terrific tool, and virtually all of our warnings get issued off of its information, but only a storm spotter can confirm the presence of a tornado on the ground or the size, hail, or strength wind.
We'll have a list of remaining 2016 storm spotting classes on our website at ozarksfirst.com. We'll also have more on the story tomorrow morning on Daybreak.
All right, Brennan, thanks. Around the Ozarks tonight, plans are in place to fix problems now at the sewage plant in Rockaway Beach, but local residents want to make sure the city follows through. Our Grant Sloan is live with an update for us on a story that we first told you about a few weeks ago. Grant.
Well, David, earlier this month, a number of Rockaway Beach residents voiced their concerns surrounding the sewage plant and the smell coming from it that they say has grown worse in recent years and in recent months. Well, today, some of those residents went before the Taney County Regional Sewer District Boards in hope of speeding up some of the potential solutions. Concerns 2 weeks ago surrounding the overpowering smell of the sewage plant in Rockaway Beach were echoed in front of the Taney County Regional Sewer District Board Tuesday.
Everybody was in the same room at the same time that some of the citizens have been talking to individually one-on-one.
Gary Collis says the public display made a difference. Plans to fix the smell and replace old equipment at the plant were discussed at the meeting.
Well, we have to have confirmation that all the things that need to be fixed in the facility so that it works correctly have been done.
Among the items mentioned were immediate fixes that can be made now that the city has allocated the necessary funding.
And those are things that will help with smell.
Another, that the individuals running the plant were given an operations manual in the last week to do the job effectively. One operational fix is moving sludge to a different basin at the plant.
In order to get more oxygen into the mixing basins, and hopefully the more oxygen that you add into those basins, that hopefully will alleviate the odor complaints somewhat.
Environmental Services Project Coordinator John Suti says the county doesn't currently operate the plant, but could connect to it in the near future, which is why it suggests Rockaway Beach requests money from the county to make major repairs and to fund an engineering study to show what all needs to be fixed.
If there is additional equipment that needs to be added or different things like that, then that can be done. And that needs to be done as soon as possible.
Now, while the city has allocated funds for some of those immediate fixes, it's also requested funds, roughly more than $100,000 from the county to do some of those more extensive repairs. And the county commission is expected to take up some of those issues at its next meeting. Grant Sloan, KOLR 10 News, Ozarks First.
Grant, thanks. Here's a live look outside from our tower cam. A cold, windy day across the Ozarks, but warmer weather is on the way. Jamie's up next with his full forecast. Stay with us.
You're watching KOLR 10 News with David Oliver, Jennifer Kilman, weather with Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner, and sports with Dan Lucy. This is KOLR 10 News at 6. And now weather with KOLR 10 News Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner.
Well, our days are getting longer and longer. You know what, folks? We're only about a month away from the official start of spring, and I've got some spring temperatures in the forecast later this week. Of course, today was colder, 42 right now. Wind still breezy out of the north-northwest at 13 miles per hour. We had a gust at 39 miles per hour earlier today. Those winds are now dying down. Temperatures, you can see them, really hard to find any place that you might call nice, although a little warmer across northern Arkansas where it's currently in the mid-40s. Clouds cover all of the area, but there are some breaks in the clouds, at least on the western and southwestern edge of this field of cloud cover across the region. I think as we push into the evening hours, every once in a while, I think you're going to be able to look up in the sky and maybe see a star poking through. Looks like we will see some clearing after midnight. And once skies try to clear out a bit and with winds pulling back, temperatures are going to be a bit colder tonight. across the area. Rainfall, we did have a round of some much needed rain, at least to the northeast, almost a half an inch in Rolla. Almost a half an inch in Fort Leonard Wood. You can see here in Springfield, really from about Stockton down through Springfield and maybe down towards Thayer. North of that line is where we found the bulk of the showers moving through late last night and then this morning as a clipper blasted across the area. Much needed rainfall. We'll take what we can get with this morning's rain. We've seen about an inch so far in 2016, and of course that's a far cry from how much we should have seen by this point. You can just do the math on there, and you can see about 3 3/4 is what we should have seen so far up to this point in the new year. And it's just amazing to see how the rains have really shut off after a wet November and a wet December. January and February have been very dry, and I think that that pattern will hold generally through the rest of this month and into early March, although we have a couple of rain opportunities in our forecast down the road. Let's talk about how we're going to get to some warmer weather. Right now we've got cold, which has invaded our area in the wake of that clipper, and it looks like the cold will tend to linger across the eastern Ozarks again tomorrow, but with southerly breezes developing across most of the area, southwest Missouri, northern Arkansas, many of us will find a much warmer day tomorrow, coupled with sunshine and lighter winds. That's going to be awful nice. And then even warmer weather later this week as we finally move that trough, which has been delivering cold across the eastern U.S. and also delivering a series of clippers across our area. Finally, with the flattening of the jet stream, we're going to see that clipper parade come to an end, and we're going to find a sustained warm-up that will last from later this week and into this upcoming weekend. So those are the big headlines. Spring fever on the way, starting off on Thursday with warm weather, and that'll last into the weekend. We'll find strong winds with this warmth, especially on Thursday, and that will lead to a high fire danger. We're going to challenge record highs, I think, also with this warmth, with highs in the low 70s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Friday appears to be our best day or our best opportunity to possibly set a new record high, as the record high on that date is 71. There's our overnight forecast. Mostly cloudy skies giving way to some clearing after midnight. Tomorrow we'll have some morning cloudiness giving way to sunny conditions. Winds much lighter, about 61 for the high. Low 70s Thursday into Saturday. We'll have a front come through Saturday night. We'll have a chance for showers with that, maybe even a rumble of thunder. Highs in the mid-60s and sunshine on Sunday. Not a bad way to finish up our weekend.
A 70s in February, we'll take it.
Absolutely.
All right, our Viewers Club
Club number for tonight is 131333, and our jackpot is at $900.
All right, Jamie, thanks.
There's a whole host of things that could cause the 911 not to operate.
Emergency officials want to make communication between you and 911 easier. We'll tell you how after the break. In tonight's Technology iWorld report, Christian County officials say a new emergency notification app could have unlimited possibilities in keeping the public informed and safe.
Color 10's Audrey Easter is here to tell you more about this new app and how the county leaders plan to use it. Audrey?
It's called Swift 911 Public, and Christian County officials say it should be a big upgrade in helping them increase public safety and awareness about issues that need immediate attention.
There's a whole host of things that could cause the 911 not to operate, so it's always good to have a backup plan.
For Christian County officials, that backup plan is now an app called Swift 911 Public, which allows them to swiftly send mass notifications to the app's users.
Under subscriptions is where you would add anything that you want to receive.
From missing person notifications to location-specific severe weather alerts.
So there's winter storm watch, flood warning, flood watch.
You can also enter important health information about yourself or loved ones.
If you have someone in the home that has these issues or needs, you can select those check boxes.
That would allow first responders to check on and communicate with those who do during a mass emergency.
Are you okay? They could press 1 for yes, 2 for no.
There's infinite opportunities with this system,
including letting law enforcement and other public safety officials contact the public directly.
It basically allows us the opportunity to use the public to help us solve crime.
Or ask them to stay away from a crime scene like the deadly shooting on the square in Ozark in November.
That's not something that you want people gravitating to and gathering around.
Nor was the Nixa Police Department after a hazardous material spill last month.
If you're set up on that system, that just gives us a quicker advance notice to you that, hey, we need you to leave this area because there's imminent danger.
Or if school officials need to let law enforcement know about imminent danger at a school.
Instead of having to pick up the phone and call 911.
Which there may not be time for. The app has only been in use for about a week now, so county officials are still working on setting up that specific feature with the schools, as well as possible mass notifications about traffic and special events. The app, which you can download right now, is also free.
Audrey, thanks. Dan Lucy's coming up in sports.
Race week continues at Daytona Plus.
Good for our confidence, and I think it says a lot about, our team and how we respond to adversity.
Mizzou tries to make it 2 wins in a row after dismissing one of its top players. Details next.
And now, Color 10 Sports with Dan Lucy.
Mizzou basketball coach Kim Anderson has dismissed junior guard Wes Clark for academic reasons. The move was announced less than an hour ago, and right before the Tigers game with South Carolina. Clark was the most experienced Tiger in the backcourt, averaging nearly 10 points per game. Mizzou is 9-16 overall, 2-10 in the Southeastern Conference, and Saturday the Tigers beat Tennessee 75-64 to snap a 9-game losing streak. The Rally for Ryan game also raised more than $50,000 for pediatric cancer research. The 5-year-old daughter of Mizzou assistant coach Brad Lose is battling neuroblastoma. That made the players feel good, and a victory was just the tonic for this young Mizzou team that's building chemistry in the rugged SEC.
It's rewarding to get a win. I mean, certainly this team's come close. One thing I will say, I think they've always played hard.
Now that we did win, I just feel like it's good for our confidence, and I think it says a lot about, our team and how we respond to adversity.
The Missouri State Bears enjoyed a rare Tuesday off day during this Rugged Valley schedule. In our Bear Nation report, Paul Luss decided to give the team an extra day of rest because their next game isn't until Thursday, and that game will be at Wichita State. Greg Marshall's Shockers actually had to play a game last night at the Roundhouse. It was a makeup against New Mexico State as part of the Valley Mountain West Challenge. Wichita beat the Aggies 71-41. Saturday, the Shockers had a 43-game home court winning streak snapped by Northern Iowa. Well, the green flag will drop on the 2016 NASCAR season later this week at the Daytona 500. Chase Elliott is on the pole after spinning the fastest lap on Sunday. Chase is the 20-year-old son of NASCAR legend Bill Elliott. And as John Kutchko reports, he's not the only new thing at Daytona.
Beautiful day down here at Daytona as we look ahead to Sunday's season-starting Daytona 500. We're at the Daytona International Raceway. They've made a ton of improvements here over the last couple of years. A project called Daytona Rising. They spent $400 million, and it is now considered a racing stadium. They call it the World Center of Racing, as you can see behind me. But what they did was decrease the capacity to 101,000 for race day, which means it's a sellout. In fact, they sold the tickets out today. They made the seats wider. Each seat has a cup holder. They really tried to make it a better experience for the fans. They took the seating from the backstretch completely away, removed it. This is the bulk of the seating all along the front stretch here at Daytona. They got big jumbotrons in place as well so fans can see the action better on the far end. Everything geared toward making this one of the best sports venues in all of America. And with the renovation project, like I said, $400 million, they spent a fortune to make it that much better. And everyone is looking ahead to Sunday's start of the 2016 NASCAR season. In Daytona, I'm John Kutchko.
And of course, tonight we'll have highlights of that Mizzou game against South Carolina, some high school basketball as well.
Look forward to that, Dan.
The last check of the forecast after the break.
Stay tuned for the warm weather.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. Earlier, David had brought up the fact that about a year ago, we had about 6 to 8 inches of snow and sleet and mess.
On this day, yeah.
Right around this day.
Almost in the 70s.
A year later, we're talking about sunshine and highs in the 70s later this week. How about that?
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here at 9 and 10.